I think it's also important to point out that this is not the most divisive we've ever been as a country. I think in the 1960s, it was way worse. And in the 1860s, probably way worse than it is right now. And so we have gotten out of this in the past. Just because we are in this high conflict situation doesn't mean we'll be here forever, to your point. But maybe you could just comment on those two periods of time, the 1960s and the 1860s, and how that compares to where we are today.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are lots of big differences, but obviously, we did have a civil war. So we don't, that doesn't offer us a lot of solace, that particular moment. But in the 60s, you had a different dynamic where it was the left that was much more violent than the right. And so now we're seeing more violence on the right. And I mention this because this can change, and it's important to look at where we're at. I think I saw recent polling that a third of Republicans were saying that sometimes force is necessary to protect democracy. And I think it was about half that for Democrats. But again, that can change very quickly. And the more overheated the rhetoric is from pundits and podcasters and politicians and so forth, the more likely you get kind of lone wolf, what is sometimes called stochastic terrorism. Rachel Kleinfeld, who writes and speaks very compellingly about political violence and studies it, she talks about stochastic terrorism, which means basically where we're at in the US is like, you don't know when violence is going to happen or where exactly, but it is going to happen. And it's like these individuals who are, struggling for other reasons. And they are given an excuse and a storyline and permission by the rhetoric of contempt and fear that we're kind of awash in right now. So yes, we have been in very divisive moments before. We will not be in this kind of moment forever, but it is definitely going to be a difficult year, unfortunately.